Welcome to episode 230 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Haramia.
And I'm Hillary Doherty, reporting live from Dystopia, USA!
Yeah, for real.
Girl.
For real.
With every passing day, I'm digging more of a hole in my backyard to figure out how to get out the fuck of this country.
Yeah. Remember that in the cartoons?
Yeah.
They would it was easy. You popped up the
Bugs
other
Bunny
side.
would pop up and he'd be like, oh yeah, I'll stay here. That sounds good. Yeah. Bugs Bunny, you led me astray. You led me astray.
God, Bugs Bunny used to come and take me. I'll go down that rabbit hole with
Listen,
him.
Bugs Bunny famously saws Florida all of America. He's a fucking genius.
He is.
He's a genius.
He was ahead of his time. For some things. Other things, no bueno, Bugs Bunny. But sawing off Florida, you were there. You knew what was up.
You knew what was up. You're ahead of your time.
God damn.
Also loved drag. He'd be in drag sometimes.
He was in drag.
Yeah.
My favorite Bugs Bunny is the one with the big orange monster. And
oh my god!
And it's like, monsters are such interesting people. Like, it's so funny to me.
Yeah, the way they would talk and start talking, it would be so fucking
and
wild.
He's like doing his hair. Like, it's so
you know
stupid.
they draw it and they go, what would be the funniest voice to come out of this thing?
So
that's
funny.
how I always think about when I see my cats. I'm like, I wonder what they would sound like if they were talking. Because I know my older cat would be like, please don't, darling, don't touch me, you know? And the younger would be like, I love how we attach personalities to pets too.
Yes.
As if.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, Teddy will give me a side eye sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no.
Or, like, when he really wants me to, like, give him love.
Yeah.
He does these eyes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, don't do it, Ted. I'm like, I got stuff to do, and then and I'm like, God damn it. And then I have to get down on the floor with him. So he knows how to
Oh, God, so cute.
win me over.
Such a cute doggy. How's his health coming along?
He's doing better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He's just so sweet.
He's a sweet
I was
baby.
crocheting.
He's a mamon, though.
He is a mamon. Well,
that's a baby who doesn't want to leave his Italian mother.
He's a mamon until there is any sort of food or something, and then it's like I don't exist anymore.
Right. That's
It throws me away.
Yeah. I feel like that's all. The one question I think my kids have asked me more than anything else in their life is, what are we eating? What's for dinner?
Yeah.
What's for lunch? I am like they walk past their father to get to me. And I think it's because I breastfed them. You know? Like they're instinctual to like go to the woman who gave them food, even though there's a fucking full-on adult right there. No. Like, did you walk past somebody to ask me what I'm gonna make you? Ugh, fuck out of here. All right, so much is happening. George Stephanopoulos sat down with President Biden last night. I know I texted you to see if you were watching it.
I looked at some highlights and no bueno. It's looking like it was no bueno.
I mean, yeah.
Like he refused the cognitive test.
Oh, God, that was my favorite thing. Because here's the thing. George Stephanopoulos kept asking him, and here's what I read. Asking him to take a cognitive and neurological test and have the results released to the public. Like, I don't know anybody who would do that. Right. I think that they have a doctor with them all the time. Yeah. They have to release their medical records. Like, it's a thing that's been since the dawn of time. Since presidents existed, we've always known. And I mean, look at Donald Trump's medical records. They're not great. So, this is who we have. Yeah. We've known he's old and he mutters through things. This is the other thing that I loved and a lot is that Stephanopoulos kept saying to him, "What if somebody comes to you and says step down, and he said a couple of times, the only person is the Lord Almighty.
The Lord Almighty.
If the Lord Almighty came down, then I would step." And I'm like, bruh, this is where we're at. And then the president is asking for a fictional, invisible person to come down, and that's the only person. That's how insane this country is.
And the fact that he had to put out that statement, which is, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm the sitting president of the United States. I'm the nominee of the Democratic Party. I'm staying in the race.
Yeah.
But, I put that up in my story, but the fact that, like, the president had to come out because, people aren't shutting up, and there's now, I think, a fourth elected Democrat, like, Congress who is like asking him to step aside, and this is crazy town. No one is telling Trump to step aside with all of his convictions. It's just, this is, and it's our fault.
Absolutely.
The fact that we're having conversations about cognitive tests is because there's no age limits on these people. Like, I mean, Nancy Pelosi then should have a test. Mitch McConnell then should have a test. Like,
he should definitely fucking have a test.
You know what I mean?
He's stroking out on camera.
He's stroking out on camera. This is insane to me.
But also the thing
it's our fault because we've created this system where people don't go away. And it's weird because on the state level, like, we have a really amazing, I like her, Lauren Book, right? She's termed out. Yeah. Right? So she's got to go do something else now. But why aren't we terming out these other really important federal level seats? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I also...
And SCOTUS.
Yeah, I also
we term out the president.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I also think, I mean, when you said it's our fault, I thought, I mean, this is the only thought that I've had in the last week, which, again, the debate is what it is. We had an entire episode. Go listen to it. The only reason I am continuing to support Biden staying in the race is because I know the shit show that follows in the Democratic Party. Like Tina said in the podcast, we never galvanize behind anybody. Never. And there's a strong, we want Kamala. Kamala's the next person. That's who it should be. And we shouldn't even have another conversation. There's a strong for that. All I've seen in the last week are Democrats showing their asses on Twitter, which I've had to stay off for several days because it's very hard to look at and it's messy and it's fucked up. And so that's the only reason. I don't think I never thought Biden should be the nominee. I always thought Biden was going to be one term and he was going to get the fuck out.
Because that's what he told everybody.
Right. But it also is the most logical fucking thing. It's the most logical thing. And I also said he should go back to Maryland. He's from Delaware. Whoops.
Well, who cares? It's the same thing.
But he should be back in Delaware on his estate or whatever and enjoying his time. He deserves it. He deserves it. He has done a lot of wonderful things as president, amazing things as president, as he laid out in that Stephanopoulos episode, if you can get through it.
The jobs, I mean.
Absolutely. He deserves a rest. He deserves a break. Let me, the things that I've seen online on Twitter that I think are, people with their predictions. Everything's a fucking coin toss. It's 50-50. Polls, you can look at polls and get, discouraged or excited.
Ever since 2016, though, you can't believe a poll.
But here's the deal. It's always going to be a 50-50 shot. If Trump and Biden go, we don't know what's going to happen. If they take Biden out and they put somebody else in and it's that person versus Trump, we also don't know what's going to happen. If you want to take, the strongest argument is take Biden out to get people who are independent or people who say, I'm not voting for this oldest man, like this older candidate. If they put somebody else in, they think they can bring those people out to vote now. I don't know, and neither do you. And the predictions and the asking of nobody knows what will happen. We don't know. And you can listen to voters and these polls, but we honestly don't know what's going to happen. Because when it comes down to that day, there are going to be a lot of people who don't vote. And it lands on them.
That's the problem.
We're here where we are because we've continued to not hold people accountable. And I mean the party. And when you turn a blind eye to power-hungry, narcissist assholes, and you don't keep them in check, and I'm talking about Republicans and also Democrats,
right?
They're going to do dangerous things. And the Supreme Court is doing whatever they want because they don't give a fuck.
Well,
they don't give a fuck. No one's going to hold them accountable, and they know it.
And they can do whatever they want.
If you're mad about the Supreme Court, we should be holding our congressmen accountable in the Senate and in the House
to expand the court
and to also hold hearings to throw them off.
Right.
That's the check.
Impeachment.
To balance. The check to balance Supreme Court is Congress. They all have a check and balance. That's what their job is to do. And if they're not holding them accountable, everyone should be calling their representative and asking, why are you not holding Clarence Thomas, Alito, why are you not holding them accountable for the gifts that they've been given, for the trips that they've taken?
Well, and the thing that's been coming out of SCOTUS is is just like they chip away at our reproductive rights, they're chipping away at our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that they're chipping away at this stuff, the more power that they're going to have that's going to lead us into a path where we're no longer a democracy.
Right.
That's what all of these cases are for. And the other thing is that, I know we talked about it before, that Project 2025, but that's getting like more traction online, and Trump now...
Thanks, John Oliver, because the Democratic Party and Biden were not promoting that before then.
It's crazy. And Trump has come out going, I don't even know what Project 2025
that's
is.
A lie.
I read some of it, and that's crazy. I don't want anything to do with that. My husband and I were talking about this. It very well could be true, because who knows? Like, I don't think Trump knows anything, but the people around Trump that are going to continue to use Trump, they sure as hell know what Project 2025 is.
He knows what it is too.
He knows too. He's such a...
At the end of the day, we're here because Democrats are weak. It's a weak party. We're here because Republicans, when they have every opportunity, take advantage. And I'm not saying all Democrats. There are very strong-willed and loud Democrats that want to make change. But we're here because Democrats on every single fucking level, and in my opinion, in this state, that's the only one. I've never lived anywhere else or worked with any other Democratic Party, but this state on every level, there's cowards. And there's cowards in the DNC. And there's cowards in the White House. That's why. Because we don't take advantage. The second those SCOTUS rulings came out last week, Biden should have said, we're going to expand the court.
Right.
Throw your dick on the table, old man. I know you got it. I've seen the tapes. I know what you've done in your career.
Yeah.
You've been a strong motherfucker.
Been a fighter, yeah.
Put that wrinkly ass dick on the table and let's fucking go. Let's go.
And you know who else is AOC has said
Bitch,
that she's like impeachment articles, or like she's going to call for
They
it.
are not powerless here. Let's do it.
But we have these few people.
Yeah.
And they need to galvanize. This whole system is...
Listen.
We need a...
I said a lot.
That's what we need.
Don't talk to me about conventions.
I
said a lot of shit last week about the party. And the fact of the matter is, the people are on the side of Democrats. The people know what's best. They know that Trump's not good. They know we have failed so epically on messaging, on candidates that we choose, on the money that we take, the issues we support. 2 years ago, Nancy Pelosi, not 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, was stumping for a pro-life Democrat.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. These are the kinds of dumb things we do because we think we know what's best for that district. When there was a beautiful, young, progressive, strong Latino woman who was in that race, Jessica Cisneros.
Yeah.
And yet it's in Texas against Henry Cuellar.
Yeah.
Y'all, this is what I'm talking about. If you want change, you have the power to do it. That's something our forefathers knew. That it's not up to these wrinkly old fucks to do anything. They never wanted Congress and the president and Supreme Court to have power. They're only there because we don't vote. Because we don't make change. And so I don't want to fucking hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. And I'll say something else too. Yo. If all I ever do again for the Democrats is vote, you should fucking shake my hand.
Ooh.
That's all you're going to get. I refuse to live my life in a way where I have to swallow bitter pills and listen to assholes who don't open their mouths when they fucking should. Don't talk to me anymore about how we're all supposed to rally behind somebody or volunteer left and right and give all this time and so much of my precious fucking time that I should have been spending with my young children. I spend fighting for a cause that didn't have my back. That's it. I don't expect results like this, but I expect some sort of acknowledgement when you fuck up or when you nominate someone like a Charlie Crist.
Oh my God.
And I don't celebrate anybody who worked for that person. You do. You celebrate that person. You give them more jobs. And they name one campaign that has been successful in that way. So no, I won't do it. I will not volunteer another hour or spend another minute. If I vote, I will vote for Democrats, and you should thank me because there's a lot of people who won't even do that.
Yeah, they won't even show up.
So how about just do better? Get the messaging better. Give people something to believe in. Because there's a tidal wave coming.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and there's a tidal wave coming that they don't even know is coming. Biden being the nominee lands on Biden, and it lands on the party. Because y'all should have been asking these questions all along.
4 years ago.
All along, these questions should have been asked.
As soon as Biden got elected, it should be, okay, he's a one-term. That's 4 years later. What is the plan? Who can we look at? Who in the party is a rising star? Who is someone that people are excited about? Go around the country and look at who people are, what are the things that they're doing? What are changes that they're making, like Whitmer and these other people? Like, where those are the people that you should be turning to and thinking about, is this someone that we can groom into the next level to be president? Or if it's Kamala, they kept Kamala. When did we see Kamala?
Girl.
From early on in that
horseshit.
presidency, it was like she's disappeared.
Well, yeah,
they
Roe,
keep her behind closed doors.
Yeah, Roe gets overturned and they're like, do we know anybody with a uterus that could go out and talk? Because we need someone with a uterus. Oh yeah, there's Kamala.
If Kamala has the Hillary problem of unlikability, then you have 4 years to work on that, to make her likable, to test her out. You know what I mean? Like, test her out with people and see what's going on. And if she's not the one, then who is? But they had years to do it. But it's the same thing that we said before. It's about not just Biden, it's that administration. It's all of those people want to stay where they are.
It's really insane.
And you know what I mean? And politics isn't about what you want. Mm-hmm. It's about the good of the country. And you're going to roll the dice on our democracy because you want to sit at your desk? It's crazy. It's crazy.
So all I know is this. Whatever happens moving forward, I will vote for the Democrat, right? We're there. We got it.
Of course.
But I want, after Biden wins or loses, which God willing, I pray every night. I say, forgive me for my sins. Please put Biden in the White House. And then my cat comes up and slaps me and says, what are you talking about, you dumb bitch? Please put Biden in the White House. I beg. I beg. Right? But the day after whatever happens, if the Democratic Party doesn't take a hard, long look, every level, bitch, every level, take a hard look at what you're doing wrong. You are supposed to be the one stopping this shit. It's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. I can't.
We gotta be like England.
I can only hold up so much. I can only, we can only do so much here. Especially here. Yeah. What the fuck are we gonna do?
I know.
All right.
I mean, England they just got their.
Listen, they don't play games over there.
But then you got England, and then you have France.
Oh, bitch. I know. Not good. Not good. What do you have? Anything?
That's it. I was just gonna talk about
listen, locally, we're fighting for our lives here in Broward County. We're fighting for our lives.
Broward is now like purple, I swear.
I mean, God, Tina, I just started dry heaving my mouth when you said that.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Democrats? Elected, past, and present. We do not support Republicans for the school board.
No.
I don't give a fuck how you know this person. We do not support Torey Alston for the fucking school board. No, sir. Sirs. No.
Rescind teacher pay.
And I'm going to do you a favor.
Off of charter money.
Yeah, I'm going to do you a favor.
Appointed by DeSantis.
Yeah, I'm going to do you a favor and not say your names, but you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. This man made a motion that the school board pay back money to charter schools. Over $100 million taken out of Broward County public schools to give to charter schools. But didn't he fail to mention that he and his family personally financially benefit from charter schools? He's getting some of that money. Y'all, what are you doing?
It's crazy.
This man is an obstructionist.
And why are you on
and from the beginning has voted against anything moving forward. The only thing that I've seen, and the only thing I've seen that he's done that's actually like, thank God, is when that piece of shit Peter Licata, he was like, No. We'll give money to charter schools, but we're not giving money to you, bitch. Like, that's the only thing I've seen. I see him sit on the school board and he sits like the, he thinks he knows everything. He doesn't live in the district. At this moment, he can't even vote for himself. He doesn't live in the district.
Yeah, so where are the rules?
Past and present elected Democrats, get it together. And this is where I say to the chair of the Broward Democratic Party, are you aware of this? Number one, that Democrats are doing this publicly and some behind the scenes? Are you aware? And two, what are you going to do about it? I've heard of certain people are saying things to them that they won't be supported, but what are you going to do about it as the chair? This is unacceptable. And this is how Broward stays blue. We don't allow this. Never, ever. Not even a fucking whiff. It shouldn't be a whiff of it. And nobody gives a fuck about this podcast.
No.
Nobody fucking cares about this. I shouldn't be the one saying it. And if anyone listening to this is concerned, go say something out loud somewhere. Send them this clip. I don't give a fuck. But y'all, if you support what I'm saying, share this clip. It'll be clipped on YouTube. Share it. Because we can't be the only ones saying that we're concerned that Democrats are supporting a DeSantis appointee for school board.
It's outrageous.
This doesn't matter. Your voices matter, not mine. So take it. Take this clip and go and ask the question. Why is this okay? Why is this being allowed? It's not okay. The school board that's questioning how we take care of LGBTQ students, the school board that just massively mishandled a transgender student being outed by the superintendent of schools, that school board, the school board that needs our support right now because it's massively underfunded, and this man just took $100 million out of the pockets of teachers and schools, that's the school board we're fighting for right now. We need it. We need to keep it together. And if you publicly or privately support Torey Alston, you are not a Democrat, and don't ever come to look at me or my face or anybody that I know, because I'll tell you to your face that this is some bullshit. Shame on you. Get it together. There are things more important than being aligned with somebody because they belong to whatever organization or church that you belong to. The children in Broward County mean more than your alliance with that person. And I'm speaking on behalf of my child and her students and her children and anybody else who goes to Broward County schools. They deserve more than your alliance. So get it together. Do you want to talk about The Bear? Because we've avoided this. I finished watching it.
Oh.
So, spoilers. We have finished season 3 of The Bear, and we're going to talk a little bit about it because we have to.
Yeah.
All right, I want to hear what you have to say because I know my boyfriend called me a contrarian this week, and then my ex-husband, I was telling him a story about our son, and he's like, oh, he's such a contrarian, and I was like, fuck, my son is me, and this is crazy, but all right, go ahead.
So
what?
I loved the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
So good.
The nod to restaurants and workers in restaurants and food industry in Chicago.
It was just silent. Like it was just I thought it was brilliant.
Christopher Storer is a brilliant TV writer and creator.
I liked getting some of the backstory on our characters.
Girl.
I thought that was nice. I liked seeing sort of Michael.
The Michaels.
We don't get to see him.
Yes.
Obviously. And then the last episode, I felt like it fell flat.
Yeah.
I was waiting for something, and then it was just like, I felt like I was in like the 1980s with a like cliffhanger and like, until next week to be continued, you know, and I'm like, what, now I gotta wait a year to see what Sydney's gonna do?
Well, okay, so they filmed season 3 and 4 at the same time.
Oh, okay, good.
So I think what I was getting, because I felt that way about every episode, where it was like, there would be a whole episode that was a backstory from years before. Like episode 6, Napkins with Tina, which I cried the entire time because I know what this feels like.
Struggle.
She's an incredible woman.
You know
the man is her real husband. The man who he was on Dexter, by the way.
Yes.
And that's her husband in real life, who plays her husband on the show. That episode, I got goosebumps thinking about it. And it was directed by Ao, who plays Sydney. She directed it. Here's what I think happened. I think they had all this footage for those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He had to figure out how he was going to cut it together. I, as a diehard Bear, I've watched the season now twice.
Yes.
This new season. That's how much time I have on my hands. I've watched
Wait,
it
you
twice.
watched the new one twice?
Yeah.
Wow. Wait a minute. Just the other day, you weren't done yet.
Well, because I watched it in sections. I watched it all with my daughter, and then I started rewatching it with Simon, and then I watched the rest of them when he hasn't been here. So
wow.
Here's what because here's the thing. I love every single character on the Bear. I'd be very hard pressed to name like my favorite. I love all of them.
And the fact, I thought the fact family brothers, like, that was so cute and adorable to me.
But I love them all so much that I will take every backstory, every second, every minute. And the reason why Napkins, I think, was the best episode is because you saw, I mean, there was things cut in that I don't know if you even remember. Like when when Sydney was at the restaurant in the second episode and the meal gets put down in front of her that Carmi had just made.
Yeah.
It's a cut back to the first season when she told Marcus, he's like, what's the best thing you ever ate? And she said it and he goes, who made it? And she's like, it was Carmi. And we get to finally see, like, who knew that we would ever see that moment that they talked about in season 1 here? Like, there was things flashing back, or when Mikey sat down with Tina and he was listening to her and he gives her this job. And when you know where she is now as being a sous chef in this amazing, incredible, went to the cooking school, like how the kindness of this man who we know was struggling, and like the fact that he pulled her up and pulled her along and brought her where she is now. It wouldn't have happened if she hadn't come in there and Richie gives her a sandwich and a coffee, and like that made me cry.
Yeah.
And like, you know that they're struggling, all the things we know about them. I'm here for every second. They were slow moving episodes, and I get
they're
it,
on that video game. Remember in the first season, the video game
There wasn't enough Claire for me, but here's what I think is going to happen. Because the last episode, everybody there were famous chefs. I knew every single one of them at that table. I think what they're trying to tell us is that Carmi's on this level now. Like, he's on this level. The scene with the chef that he worked for with the glasses, fucking great. Like, how he goes, Bargazzo, like, he's, to the end, he's a fucking prick to him.
Yeah.
But Carmi needed to hear that. Yeah. He needed to hear that. He knew what he was doing. He was doing it on purpose, and he was pushing him. It was a horrible way to do it. I loved seeing all the restaurants he worked in. After seeing all these restaurants, you see they're all in every single one of those dishes. Well, every one of his dishes has a piece of those restaurants.
And I think that's the cool part too, is that, at least for me, like, you don't realize, like, they're being trained and they're learning from all of these different people.
The legacy he was talking about.
You take a little bit of this and you create your own thing, your own spin on it. And you see Marcus do that.
Yes, with the purple caramel. He's making this purple caramel.
You know, and the illusion.
Yes,
and
the sleight of hand.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is...
But the whole Sydney storyline, and you see Sydney, at least for me, Sydney wants her voice heard.
Yeah.
And Carmi is so wrapped up in himself.
Yes.
And what he wants.
Yeah.
That he's not listening.
Yeah.
And like doing that... And I think there's like this pull between like old tradition and new tradition. And so like him wanting to do this like new menu every single week, like I don't think he has to do a new menu every single week.
Every day.
Every day. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like every single service, they're doing that new menu, and it's hard to keep up with it. And Sydney, I don't think understands why.
Yeah.
And we get why, because of like, this is the world that he's a part of.
Right.
And you see like the old and the new with, hey, I'm selling these sandwiches out the back fucking window, but then like we're doing this like high-end service on the other end. But he's not listening. He's got this ego, and he is about to lose. Like, not only did he like lose Claire, and maybe she'll come back, but like he's gonna lose Sydney.
Yeah.
Because he has the opportunity to listen to her, and she's innovative and different. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's not, and like even on some of his food, she's like, like something is off.
Well, they're supposed to be doing it together.
And they're not doing it.
Because she's not, she has to say something. And I think she feels like,
it's the Carmi show.
It's the Carmi show, but also like the fact that the very first, he changed the menu. She's like, you changed the menu. The second episode.
There's no conversation.
There's none, and there's no collaboration anymore. It's not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then it's confusing because there's this, agreement they all want her to sign, but she's like,
what am I
I'm literally a babysitter. Like when he came up, she's like, I'm not your babysitter. The fighting with Richie, it's so all of it is so aggravating, and I could see what the appeal is of. I can showcase who I am. I can be a CDC on my own, and someone's recognizing, like that guy who said to her,
but it's a risk.
I could see it. You could see it's like when he tasted the food. He said, I could tell it's Carmi, but it's different. There's something different. It's because of her influence. I don't think she even understands that she's influential to him just being there. Yeah. But it was supposed. But at some point, she has to say,
"Yeah, she's gonna shit.
You're excluding me. Yeah. You're excluding me from this thing." Yeah. And she's not doing it. And then also he doesn't listen. So it's this horrible thing. Yeah. But there were episodes that were incredible with Jamie Lee Curtis and the daughter having the baby. No, girl.
I knew she was
that song started playing. I was crying.
As soon as she's going to get the paper towels, I'm like, this is it. She's gonna have the baby. Like she can't be lifting stuff. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, and even the chaos of the Christmas episode with the mother, it was chaos here, but she's sober. So I think she's just this very chaotic.
She's manic.
She never really knows what to say.
She's manic. Very good, but
it moves slow. It moves slow. Okay, yeah. So I don't know.
Last episode, I wanted more from it.
Yeah, but I think here's what I think this season's about. Yeah. What's about to come on season 4 is going to be a fucking tidal wave. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. I think the review is excellent. I think it's going to be a nonstop thing. I think Carmi has to change the menu every day because he needs to be challenged. He literally said to her, "Oh, you don't think I can do it? You don't think you're doubting me?" He needs that sort of like painful existence, or he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to do it otherwise.
How cool to like go to I can't afford a restaurant like this, but to just go in and you just have to like eat what the chef makes for you.
P.S. What about when the photographers come in and the guy's like, prepare the duck dish? Oh, we don't know which duck it was because they change it every day. Oh my god! Yeah, so good. There were a lot of things that I thought were there's some Easter eggs there too. I don't know if you saw the picture of Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper was in a movie called Burnt, and he played a chef. And when they were flashing all these different chef pictures, his picture was in it. In the movie, so I read something that was like, this chef exists in the same world as Carmen, like, or is this a joke, or like, what the fuck is it? Why is Bradley Cooper character of this from this movie in this flash?
Well, but burnt, like, is it a burnt out chef? Like,
yeah. Well, I don't know. Oh
God, is Carmi gonna crash and burn and Sydney take over? Is she gonna open her mouth and they're gonna like do it? Is she gonna leave? Because her leaving. It's a huge risk because like these restaurants are all closing. You know what I mean? So for you to just roll the dice on something like that,
I think that's how they live their lives.
Yeah,
I think that's how they live their lives with in the restaurant business. You just go to the next one, right?
I guess.
Another really amazing scene was with Richie and Frank, and Frank was saying to him like, I should have come to you before I asked her. Like that's the fucking sweetest goddamn scene.
And it's what's his face?
Yeah. God. Oh, I love him.
Oh God, he was in everything back in the day with his little squinty eyes.
Hold on, let me look it up because he's so good.
Yeah, but he was in like teenage comedies, and then he like
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know.
I don't know because he was so scrawny when he was younger, and he's filled out a little because he's like a grown man now. Yeah. But I was like.
I think the reason
I thought that was so sweet, and that they want him to come to the wedding.
No.
That's what
made me cry.
And she's like, I need you to be there.
Yeah, you're my. I don't have anybody left. You're my family.
Oh my God, that. I think is so cool.
Harmonious relationship with your ex-husband or wife is the only way to live.
Yeah,
it's the only way to live, especially because of children. If you don't have a harmonious relationship, you need to figure out why and fix it. There's no other way to live. And so that's why that was so sweet, because life is too short to not. And Richie needed to feel respected there, which I think maybe he did. And I think he was touched by it.
I think so too.
So anyway, I think the slow moving and the backstory is because what's going to happen is going to really inform us in what's coming in season 4. Yeah. And like I said, they filmed it all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think
so
all
I
of
think
it moved well, except
the
for
editing
that
was
last episode.
Well, because we were building and there wasn't a lot of.
That's the thing. I think like we're anticipating something and we're like,
well, remember the end of season.
When is it going to happen?
But remember the end of season. Or wait, the second to the last episode of season 2 was 5:30 happened and they clicked the door. Remember they opened the door, and then they had that last season, the last episode, which was
crazy.
A mess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anything else happened. I don't know. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
It's a great show. Brilliant. All right, are you ready?
Oh God.
So yes. I'm apologizing ahead of time.
I knew it. That's why I said, "Oh God," because you warned me last week that this was going to be sad. All right. Oh God.
Today, I'm going to tell you the story of former GOP donor Anton Tony Lazzaro.
Okay.
Tony Lazzaro, known for his deep pockets and strong ties to the Minnesota Republican Party, was a big-time donor. But when accused of sex trafficking minors, he found himself in deep trouble. All right, so our story takes place in Minnesota around 2020 to 2021.
What?
Yeah. So according to a CBS News article about Lazzaro, he first grew up and lived in California, and then he made his way to Minnesota. And the article notes that he became well connected to Minnesota Republicans, and it was specifically through a PAC that he created. It was GOP PAC Big Tent Republicans, which had contributed about $150,000 to state Republicans. Another article said it was actually like $270,000 over the years. And he just definitely like mingled and hung out with the reps that he was donating to. And like, you know how this is. Like
$270,000 though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money,
it's
but
a lot.
As far as a donor, like,
yeah.
That's chump change.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just, I guess, I think he did other stuff, but like this was his little, whatever. Yeah. So he mingled with these people that he's donating to, and supposedly his social media showed him with various electeds, and he was also buddy with this woman, Jennifer Carnahan, who at the time served as the chair of the Minnesota Republican Party. So we see this all the time, I feel like, in politics, like people who donate or like host events or do that, like, you know, they're around with these people. And they were so close that he went to her wedding, he supported her bid as chair, and they even hosted a podcast together for a couple of months, according to an article on The Hill. So like, you know. All right, so
she sounds familiar. I feel like I know of, like maybe she had a scandal or
I don't know. So the article also noted that he helped run a campaign for another Republican, Lacey Johnson. So he like helps with campaigns. He helps get money for campaigns. Like he's just like in it.
Yeah.
So and he was even pictured with former President Trump. So this all makes sense, right? Yeah. All right. So the major incident, allegedly, Lazzaro was working with a student to try and recruit girls for the purpose of sex trafficking. And he did this from May to December of 2020, which is right in the middle of COVID. So basically, because, you know, these kids are isolated, they're online, and like, you know, like this is the thing that is like so worrisome for me about the online stuff, is the way that people can just connect to you and talk to you and worm their way into like a child's existence through the games that they're playing, through, you know, someone DMs you because they saw your story, you know what I mean? Like it worries me. I don't like it. So at the time, Lazzaro was 30 years old. The student, Gisela Castro Medina, was 19, and she met Lazzaro through this sugar daddy website. He asked her to get other girls for him that he would pay for sex. So he meets this girl, and she's 19, so she is of age. And these sugar daddy sites basically, you know, are, hey, I'm this young girl, you're this older dude, you have money, just buy me stuff, take me out, and whatever. And like they'll either do what you want, or like they're kind of managing their own thing because they want money from you.
Listen, we've had this conversation before. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
But
again.
So he asked her to get these other girls, but the thing is, he isn't looking for girls of age. He's asking for specific ages, and he even made a point to ask for girls who were, quote, broken. So
what the
he knows
fuck?
that he can try and manipulate them because they're already vulnerable. So it's
evil,
disgusting and predatory. So Medina was an adult, and she chose to help Lazzaro. In fact, she got paid $50,000 for getting him girls. She would send him photos of potential girls for his approval, and then he would, out of those pictures, say, okay, this is the one, whatever. He's sick. In the end, he paid the girls, but the girls ranged in age from 15 to 17.
Wow.
And he would give them money, alcohol, gifts like purses, vape pens, makeup, all that kind of shit. And there were 5 victims in total. So CBS News article noted that this guy even hired a driver to pick up 14-year-olds from a slumber party. And basically he used the Uber to arrange the pickup. So that's how he would do it. Like, he would make the connection, and then so he's not going to pick them up, he would send a driver through Uber to pick them up.
This reminds me of like that Matt Gaetz stuff. Didn't they use Uber or something?
Yeah, it's gross. All right, so he gets caught from a tip from a parent. So here are the charges.
Oh my God.
Lazzaro was charged with federal counts of sex trafficking and obstruction, 1 count conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors, 5 counts of sex trafficking of minors, 1 count attempted sex trafficking of minors, 3 counts of obstruction of justice. So supposedly he tried to threaten law enforcement, allegedly, like, do you know who I am? Do you know the circles that I run
Haven't you heard my podcast? Don't you know my podcast?
Don't you know how much money I gave to your boss?
You can't arrest me.
Yeah,
Wow. That's what you get, motherfuckers. That's what you get. When you have these people giving you money that are fucking dirtbags, they think that they can do whatever
and they can
want.
use your name.
Yeah.
And
they should put your name in the articles right next to this fucking guy.
Yep. Now Medina, the girl, the 19-year-old, she's charged as well.
Good.
And she's charged with conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors and aiding and abetting the sex trafficking by obstruction. So Lazzaro's trial lasted 10 days, and he's found guilty of the conspiracy to commit the sex trafficking of minors and the 5 counts of sex trafficking. So during the trial, he tried to claim that the allegations against him were politically motivated.
Oh my God!
The typical witch hunt bullshit we hear all the time. So here's what he said, quote, "I take a lot of offense to the government and court's notion that I perjured myself in this trial. Grooming behavior is the word you used. If that's the case, then I suppose anyone who gives someone a gift, whether it be a cheap gift or $1 million, is grooming their companion for sex. Okay, if that's the standard that we're going to apply, then I don't know how there's any standard to apply."
The audacity.
No remorse for what he's done.
The absolute audacity of men. It's astounding.
And because he's rich and because he's connected politically to people, somehow he thinks now the government's coming at me.
Oh yeah,
they're coming at you because you're a disgusting adult that's going to slumber parties.
Yo. By the way, you know that they think you're gross, right?
Well, he tried to claim it was consensual.
Yeah. I mean,
of course,
honey.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to touch that dick.
Ew.
Not a child.
Oh.
No.
So Medina, the girl.
But also because grown women will tell you how fucking disgusting you are. And that's why you go and you try to corrupt broken children.
Right.
Because they won't fight you.
And this chick, like, what are you doing? Immediately.
Oh, you know what?
And I get it, like, people are in their situations, but immediately she should have been like, sure, I'll do that for you. Ring up the police, set up a fucking sting, and get this guy.
It's like that Giselle Maxwell, whatever, the Ghislaine, whatever her name is with Epstein.
Yeah. It's
women trust women.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, I'm safe.
Right. So Medina, she took a plea deal and she testified against Lazzaro, and she stated in court that he paid off one of the victims to prevent her from turning him in. Lazzaro was sentenced to 21 years in prison. 21 years.
Did it stand?
Yeah.
He said, oh my God.
So Assistant U.S. Attorney Melinda Williams had this to say about Lazzaro. Quote, "He wanted sex, and not just any sex. He wanted sex with minor girls under the age of 18, and he had a plan to get it." The prosecution team had this to say, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office of Minnesota: "Anton Lazzaro was a predator who hid in plain sight. He was a sex trafficker who camouflaged his true nature with his wealth and privilege. Today, his crimes were laid bare and justice was served. Superintendent Drew Evans of Minnesota Department of Public Safety Bureau of Criminal Apprehension had this to say, quote, "We hope the individuals Lazzaro victimized feel some sense of justice today, and that all sex trafficking survivors know that we will continue to work to hold accountable the men and women who commit these terrible crimes. This verdict reinforces that no one is above the law. Lazzaro's wealth and privilege helped him facilitate these crimes, but did not shield him from justice." So the aftermath. Now that GOP chair that was like buddies with him doing the podcast, Jennifer Carnahan, she faced backlash for being chummy with Lazzaro, and they called for her resignation.
Yeah.
One Republican, Senator John Chamberlain, stated, "Minnesota GOP chairwoman Jennifer Carnahan must resign immediately. The charges against Anton Lazzaro of sex trafficking minors are deeply disturbing, disgusting, and repulsive, and Carnahan's close, ongoing relationship with him is troubling to say the least. I find it impossible to believe she didn't know about his activities." Although denying any knowledge, and I mean, maybe she didn't know just because they, you know what I mean? Like,
no, it's entirely possible.
Yeah. But she still resigned, and she claimed
it
was due to, quote, "a toxic work environment."
I bet.
I mean, girl, you're with the GOP. It's toxic to women all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Does she still have, they finally turned on her. Welcome to our world.
Yes.
Could you imagine that I'm arrested for being a pedophile and Tina still tries to host a podcast? Like, I wonder if she's still hosting that podcast.
No.
Would you show up for work the next day?
No. My God.
Oops. My bad, guys. My bad.
Ew. All right, so some points of interest.
Yeah.
This guy's crazy.
He
tried to get one of the parents of these kids to sign an NDA so that they wouldn't go to the cops.
Wow, dude.
The balls. Can you imagine?
These guys got it all.
I sex trafficked your daughter, but I need you to sign this NDA real quick.
Oh my God. Let me say something.
Well,
I would take the pen.
Aren't you tired of these NDAs?
I would click the pen so it's out, and then I'd fucking write in the jugular.
Oh
How's that for fucking signing? That's what I would do. Then I'd take his blood on my hands and I'd smear it all over the NDA, because that's how dark it's gonna fucking get right now. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Murder. Murder.
Now, this was a little weird. So, one of the judges.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was just basically Hannibal Lecter, and I have to apologize for that. So sorry. Sorry about it. Bye. Oh, bye.
So one of the judges said to Lazzaro that the only remorse he showed was to himself.
Oh yeah.
And Jeffrey Epstein.
Whoa! What?
So I have no idea what was said in the trial that Epstein would have been mentioned.
Well,
I mean, I see the comparison, but that Lazzaro would have shown empathy towards him.
Well, because they're both he probably thinks they're both political victims of some political scandal, and they're the lamb that's being sacrificed or whatever.
It's crazy. And then another thing that came out in the articles was his wealth, specifically where it came from. So there isn't a clear line. Some say that it's from real estate, some it's from cryptocurrency. So nobody knows where he even got the money to do all the stuff that he was doing.
Wow.
So that's kind of a
shady. Yeah.
But that's it. Short and sweet, girl.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
No.
And that would be, I feel like that is in the political world, it would be huge if a major donor and someone that's going to all these things, even imagine in our world, if some major person suddenly would be like, oh my God.
The fucking Epstein list.
Yeah.
These 7 things came out this week. Trump's all over these things. He's all over it. He's all over it.
He's been in pictures everywhere.
And because of the debate, I don't see anybody talking about it. Literally on Twitter, when I see it, it's like anybody in the news, New York Times. The New York Times, y'all, what the fuck are y'all doing? The articles about Biden are insane. I literally last night was looking to see what time that interview started with Stephanopoulos, and it said an article title was Biden once again tries to fight his way through this event. Again, he's trying not to embarrass himself, basically, is what the title of the article was. And I was like,
Where are the
missiles
headlines
at him?
Where are
Missiles.
the headlines on Trump?
Yeah, I don't know. Where's the headline of Trump with Epstein? Like, it literally came out this
week. Where's the New York Times money coming from? What's happening at the New York Times?
Yeah, they're trying to prove that they're not, biased, I guess. Girl.
I can't.
Anyway,
I'm done. Stick a fork in me. It's over.
But also, I wanted to tell you that I'm 3 episodes. No, wait. Yeah, I have 3 episodes left of The Americans.
Oh,
girl, this show is so fucking good, and the last 3 episodes are fucking incredible. So I'm excited.
Where could I watch it?
Hulu.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It is so good. It is so good.
Is it gonna upset me?
No, it's.
Okay.
I mean, it's exciting and thrilling. Like, there's all kinds of things that happen, but I can tell now that like we're at the point in the show where this person who's a good friend, like, they're Russian spies, but people think they're like, it would be like you and your husband being Russian spies and nobody knows. You know what I mean? And they live these everyday lives, but meanwhile,
the Americans.
Okay. But they live across the street from an FBI agent who they become very good friends with, and now we're at the point where he's starting, like, the last few episodes, he's like, something's fucking up here. Yeah, something's up, and he's starting to
How many
figure it out.
Is it?
It's 6.
Oh,
but
that's a commitment.
Perfection. Okay. Not one.
Are they long,
bad,
short episodes?
They're hour-long episodes.
Wow.
Well, maybe like 45 minutes, without commercials. Okay. But, like, so good. You have to watch it.
Okay, I might have to check it out.
What else?
That's it. Oh, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
So I yesterday spent time with my dear friend Karen, who I adore, and we went.
Oh, shout out! She listens to the podcast. What up?
Yes.
Also, I want to shout out my sister who listens, and I want to shout Jen, and I want to shout out Kate who listens every week.
Kate,
love you.
Hi. So we went to there's this old timey bookstore in Hollywood that we went to that has, like, the ladders and, like, all the old books.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very cool. And there's a little bookstore cat. So we went and did that because my son's been wanting to go, and we finally went. And then he was like, oh, there's this record store kind of nearby. Can we go? And so we went. And it wasn't open.
Oh.
But we get there, and immediately in the window there is, like, a Trump picture.
Oh, bye.
And Karen's like, uh-oh. And then we look inside, and there's, like, a mannequin with, like, a Make America Great.
Wow.
And, like, but then they've got all these cool albums, and they've got, like, Rocky Horror Picture Show, like, all this cool stuff everywhere, right? Like, memorabilia, like, in the window display. And then there's a Not My President Biden shirt, and I'm like, what is it? So I'm like, well, and Karen's like, well, thank God it's closed, because she's like, we can't let you in there. And he's like, but I want to look at the records. We're like, no, we can't. So it was supposed to open at 1, and we were there at like 1:15, and then we're like, whatever. We end up going to this other bookstore record place, but we start looking at the reviews, and all the reviews were, I went there, it's closed, the guy never shows up, and then he's replying.
Oh, what's he saying?
In the comments.
Yeah.
And, like, one lady's like, I've gone there a few times, and it's just never open. And he's like, you're a liar, and by the way, we don't take food stamps. And she's like,
oh, yeah, he's Trumpy.
Yeah, and then someone's like,
someone's grandpa.
Yeah, someone's like, oh, I went there and it was a little overpriced. And he's like, you're a liar. This is the #1 record store in America, I was like, this Trump brain. And then someone was like,
I'd love to have that Trump brain. Damn.
I know.
Damn it.
And then someone was like, yeah, there's stuff, but it feels really MAGA. Like, it's just like, it was
feels like, bitch, it's in your face. It doesn't feel like it.
But
it
the
is.
insults that he was saying, like, anyone who was like,
this is the greatest.
I went.
Put this up in our
this
stories.
person was like, I went 4 times, and it was, and every time I've gone, they're never open. And he's like, why don't you try calling sometime? And it's like, dude, you list your hours online. Like, he's so salty and mad at everybody.
Oh God, what a life!
It was really
life.
funny. And I'm like, man,
I gotta
record
tell you,
store to me.
I was talking last night, and I was saying that I would love. There's nothing more. Sometimes I daydream about just letting it all go and like go, yeah, I'm full MAGA.
What?
Like, how fun would it be?
What?
To be crazy like that? I mean,
to
just let go of all, forward thinking and a logical things and just let it fucking
and
go.
not care about people.
And not give up and be as rude as you want to be and tell people to go fuck themselves and storm a Capitol and wipe your shit on the walls. Like, how amazing and free would it be to wipe your own doo-doo on the walls of the Capitol? Like, it just seems so free of your life. You don't have to pay your taxes. You tell the government to go fuck themselves. Like, I mean, it sounds amazing to be that bubble-headed.
Yeah, I don't know.
And even you can even own your own business and run the hours however you feel like, and tell people when they insult you can tell them that go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Like
that, not insulting people, you. Like, it's people that are like, I want to buy.
Yeah, no, I know. But that's what I've never understood.
It's crazy.
I've never understood businesses that make it clear where they stand, a la Chick-fil-A. Like, I don't understand. Or anything else where you are run-of-the-mill whatever, whether it be a store, an actor, a musician, and you come out and say, here's how I politically align.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, you know you're going to lose people, right?
Yeah, either way, like, no matter what side you're on.
Why would you ever, if you're just trying to exist and make money, by the way, would you ever do that? It just doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. But I was like, what the hell kind of record store is this? And in my mind, and I don't know why I think this way, but in my mind, I think, like, if you're owning, like, a used record store and you're selling this cool shit, like, you're not MAGA. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't, and I don't know why.
I wonder what he listens to.
I wonder, I'm sure that MAGA people enjoy albums like
Credence?
Other people.
Is he into Credence?
Who knows? But it's
American Son, is that what that's?
It's just, it's just wackadoodle. And it's weird for me to think, maybe because I like this stuff so much that I can't imagine that someone who likes, like, something like I do, that they have this political leaning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where my bias comes in, where I just automatically assume, like, oh, you're cool because, like, you're listening to records and you're doing, you know what I mean? Right.
Well, artists create, you know, they have a voice that they want to, you know, get out there. It's just crazy. And it's usually creative and very liberal and artsy, and you're in a different sort of community than MAGA people.
Yeah, so it just doesn't make sense. And why aren't you opening your store?
No, he don't, because he's probably, this is probably like he's probably had the store forever. He probably doesn't have to pay rent at that. He already owns that part of the building. Like, you know, there's probably nothing that really brings him. It's not radioactive, where they're open and the most lovely people on the planet.
Love radioactive.
I mean, what the hell? Yeah, don't go to that record store.
And then we went to, then we ended up going to Maga. Maga record store. Then we ended up at another, like, bookstore that also sold records, and the guy was so nice. Of course. The guy was.
How do you own a record store and you're not grateful that people are coming in and buying vinyl? And, like, what the fuck? You should be thanking God people want to come in and spend money on this fucking shit.
And we're looking at books and stuff, and you know, my son's over there in the records, and he finds, of course,
Beatles,
a Beatles thing that's like a thing that he doesn't have, and then he gets a 45. You know, it's just like a one song, like small 45, and we're like talking to the guy, and you know, he brings us up, and he goes, you know what? He goes, go grab another 45, just take one. Aww. And it was so, and my son was so excited, and he went there and got a Johnny Cash. He was like, this is the one I wanted.
I cannot believe you just said that. When you said 45, I was thinking, I'm going to go through my 45s and give your son a 45. And one of them that I have is Johnny Cash at Sun Records, and that would be so cool to give to him. That's so wild that you said that.
So I was like, how cute is that?
No, listen. This is what I mean.
But how nice is
I'm
that
okay
guy?
with,
and that's
like, I'm okay with,
he's gonna remember that.
Of course.
And, you know, he came home, he told, he was like, oh, I got this.
How many 15-year-olds in the world are that excited about vinyl? Like, there aren't that many. Digital, like, these kids are raised on a digital thing. Like, I have a record player with tons of records. Not one of them. I even bought records that I'm like, you guys would love this. They have no interest in listening to a record with me like that at all.
Oh, I'll come home and there's like, you know, Frank Sinatra. Like, last night we were playing cards. It was like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin.
Oh my God,
and like
my
these
favorite.
Old, like, Italian songs while we're playing cards.
I gotta say, he's gotta go on Spotify and listen to that live it's a bit of racism and anti-Semitic rants on there from Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. But especially, I told you, I talked about the podcast. When poor Sammy Davis Jr. comes out and he's all excited, it's like, you smile so the audience can see you. Woo! good. And then there was an anti-Semitic because he's Jewish, anti-Semitic joke, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, I'm gonna skip that part. Let's go to the song. Let's go to the songs quickly.
Oh, no.
Oh my god! And the audience is like, ah! Like they're laughing. They're laughing.
Oh, God.
See, we've evolved
come a
in
long
some
way.
ways. Some ways.
Oh,
But now
God.
they're you know, we got, oh god, I don't even want to say it. We got these awful men who are trying to support Trump to be the VP nominee, which I'm like,
yeah,
yo,
kill all
bro.
the liberals. Like this is where we are. And you know, there's all these posts online with like they're showing the Obama Mitt Romney debate and how they come out and they're cordial to each other. And you know, at one point in the debate, Obama's like, well, you know, Mitt and I agree on blah 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 blah. Like they're, you know, and then at the end, Mitt Romney's like, oh, it's your anniversary. Yeah, great way to spend it at a debate. You know, they're playful with each other. They're respectful of each other.
Tina, this is
12 years ago.
Also, like,
12 years ago is not that far away.
The part that bothers me too is
and that's to me like that we
Yeah.
have gone the short amount of 12 years in the grand scheme of things is not a long time. And to see how divided and hateful and angry we've all become with each other, it's really upsetting.
Yeah.
It's really upsetting. Like, I want to see a way where we can come back and be closer to the middle.
I agree. Well, there's 2 points I'd like to say about that. One, it's what upsets me about it is that this is the age of my daughter's age when I really became interested in politics. 14, 15 years old. I was super into it. I would read everything in the paper about anything local, or I was so fucking into it. And so it bothers me that this is what kids that might even be on the fringe of like interest in politics and like this is what they have to see. And so that's disappointing. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, I even had a conversation with her and a friend in the car about it because her friend was like, oh, I didn't get to watch the debate. I was like, honey, please don't get me started. Yeah. It was like the day after. I'm like, please don't. And but I said, you know, are you guys interested? And he's like, I'm not. You know, he was raised in the same thing with my daughter, where it was like he'd see these two people like going at it about bullshit politics, and it's like it turns them off to it. I said, just vote. All I ask is that you vote. And I said to my daughter, don't even tell me who you vote for. I don't need to hear about it. Just make sure that you vote. That's all I want. But the other thing is that, I was going to say something about the people getting. For us to get back to a place where it's like that, this whole thing has to fracture.
It's got to blow up.
The whole thing has to fracture. And it's got to get to the fracturing point of whatever will snap the Republicans out of that zombie trance, the Trump trance. Like, that is the name of the episode. Yeah. Trump trance. We have to snap them out of it, and it's got to be so bad that happens. And it wasn't that their lives were threatened on January 6th. That wasn't far enough.
No.
Something else will happen, and Democrats also have to come and start pushing,
strong,
and they need to start fighting.
Strong.
Like that, the whole country and the whole state of our democracy is going to have to fracture before, and I don't know what that looks like, before we get back to a place of, oh shit, what have we done? And we need to pull it together. That's what it's gonna be. No one is safe.
No.
And I appreciate people feeling like they're safe on one side or the other. None of us are safe.
No.
I feel betrayed by the way Democrats left abortion off the table for so many decades. I feel betrayed by that. I feel betrayed by a lot of these things. But, you know, at this point, you want to push it towards the fracture. There's one way that's going to happen. That's come November, Trump gets elected. And I wish it was like you were saying, you were being hyperbolic. Like, I wish, right?
Yeah. I
wish that was the case, but it's not. It's not the case. It's really scary. And so, yeah, I got to stay off Twitter. I'm
well.
And again, just to stay positive. Like I said last week, I want you to remember the debate. I want you to watch George Stephanopoulos. I want you to the interview. I want you to see what Trump's up to. I want you to pay attention. And I need you more than anything to get involved.
And to vote.
And if you're not happy with what SCOTUS did, let your congressman, House member, or senator know how you feel about it and ask them what they're going to do to hold SCOTUS accountable for giving. We didn't even talk about the immunity. Like, we don't have to talk. I know you all know what they did this week. So, like, the scary things are happening. And because of that partial immunity, Trump's team is now asking all these other cases to take a step back from sentencing, take a step back from the trials going forward until after the election, because now he's got immunity for all of the things he did while he was in office, partial immunity, according to SCOTUS. They kicked the can back down to the circuit court. So now they're asking for the case where he was just found guilty, 34 felony counts. They're asking the judge to think about his sentencing and consider this even though he did all this before he was elected. It just doesn't fucking make sense to me.
Doesn't make sense.
But if you're not happy, let people know. There's things you can do. These phone numbers are easily accessible. The phone, they're going to pick up the phone. It's going to have cobwebs on it because nobody calls them to tell them, ask them, what are you doing? What are you doing to stop this? You, as a congressperson, can hold SCOTUS accountable. What are you doing?
Okay.
All right, that's it.
That's your job.
That's your job. I mean, I'm on 3 hours of sleep, people. Let's go. Let's go. Look at this. Coffee is a fucking dream come true.
Ooh.
Dream come true. I'm going to go all day like this.
I need some coffee.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some coffee now.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.